There is a rainbow for me to follow. Proceed to sunlight, so I'll be alright. Vision of love, and it was all that you've given to me.
I started singing pretty much before I started talking, if that's possible. And I used to walk around the house like a little tape recorder, and I would mimic anything that I heard, whether it be my brother and sister's records that they would be playing or whatever songs were on the radio at the time. My mother was a major influence in my life as far as exposing me to music from a very young age. Lucky for me, I didn't have to do odd jobs for too long before I got my record deal, because it probably would have been the death of me. I remember I got fired from, this is an exaggeration, but around 20 waitressing jobs and hostessing and coat checking, because I used to sit there and wear my headphones, and they would be calling me, and I'd be like, da-da-da. And they'd be like, "Where's Mariah?" And no one knew, but I'd be sitting there writing lyrics, listening to my headphones.
Carried the weight on my own, had to be strong.
So one day I was sweeping up the hair off of the floor, and this man kept staring at me, and everyone was like, "That's the bus, that's the bus." So I was like, okay, what does this guy want? So he kept coming up to me and going, "What's your name again? What's your name again?" And I kept saying, "Mariah, Mariah." And he was like, "Okay, Mariah, Mariah." He goes, "What's your name again?" And I said, "Mariah." And he goes, "Well, now it's Echo." And I was just like, "Echo?" And he said, "Because I said that's your name. That's your new name. When you work in my store, I name you." So I was like, these are not slave days. You cannot name me. And I just said, "Okay, I'll see you later," and I left.
So I believe, and now I know I've succeeded.
Come in stages when you're doing this, because it's like, first you dream about, okay, I'm just going to see my name in print on an album. I'm just going to see written by Mariah Carey. I'm just going to see my album in a store. There are different things that become more and more thrilling. Like the first time I did a television show, and I went home and I watched myself on Arsenio Hall. And you know, the first time I saw someone sitting in an audience, like at the Apollo, singing back to me what I was singing, knowing my lyrics, and that was a thrill.
Feels so alive. I'm so thankful that I've received, knowing the one that I needed would want me eventually.
In itself, and seeing my name on the #1 slot in Billboard. First, it's like seeing my name at all on the charts. It's like, number 53. And then as it goes up, you know, it's a continuous process. Each thing that happens for me is a new moment of, you know, excitement for me. About relationships, and some people say there's a lot of sad songs on the album, but I'm just writing from my experiences and my outlook on life, and I think people can relate to that.
Many were initially surprised that her voice belonged to a white woman.
I don't know, everybody likes to put categories on music and people, and this is black, this is white, you know, and I just really don't think there's a need to categorize everything. I mean, music should be universal.
To date, though, she has not staged a live performance tour to promote her music, and none is planned for the near future.
Some people are just more comfortable in the studio. I'm more comfortable because it's a controlled environment. It's a creative environment, and that's where I'm at my best. That's what I do. I'm an introverted person, and it's hard for me to get out there and be really Hollywood and really, ham it up. That's just not who I am. But I do want to get out there and see the people who've supported me and perform for those people and do the best that I can do. I tried to let myself go a lot more on this album as far as being a lot more raw, letting a lot more of my true influences come out.
A lot less slickly produced?
On this album. So, I mean...
Was it more fun?
Definitely more fun.
Suppose it doesn't do as well.
Then it doesn't do as well, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Goes to Mariah Carey. You were so blind to let me go, 'cause I won't need your love anymore.
You are 21. How are you handling this? I mean, quintuple platinum, mega bucks contract deals.
It's, I guess it must be really hard for some people to really stay grounded while you're doing this, because having success at a young age or at any age can be overwhelming. But my mother really helped me and told me to believe in myself, and that this could happen for me, and I've just really hoped and worked very hard for it. Even though it happened young, I worked very hard.
But I heard that you always knew this is what you were going to do, because you had 20 waitressing jobs.
I said 20 once as an exaggeration, and like some guy wrote it, and now everybody says 20. But actually, I guess it was about 6, and they weren't all waitressing. Some were, I co-checked, and hostess and stuff like that.
Oh, great. But you always knew you were going to be a singer?
Yes.
Did you always know Amy? Who's your mentor?
It's funny that she said Carole King, because she was also one of the people that I looked up to, and I had the honor of writing a song with her for my new album.
Really?
And I'll be singing it in a few minutes. So
Well, Mariah, can I ask you this? And I ask you this for everybody else, not because I really care, but I know this is the one thing I hear the most about you. I mean, everybody, especially when the first album came out, and Andre, my hairdresser, he got it first, and he was playing it, and it's all, we were all singing to it, and I sing in the shower, and I think I'm you for a minute. I fling my hair around. But they all say, oh, this is a white girl, she sounds black. Oh, no, it's a black girl, but she isn't, she's white. No, she isn't, I think she's mine, I think she's the one, I think she's a... So, what are you?
My mother is Irish, a person first and foremost. My mother is Irish, my father is Venezuelan and black.
And those early days when you actually got involved in music and you managed to make that first video, how did you feel when you stepped back and looked at your first video?
But my new video, Dream Lover, was done by a really good friend of mine, Diane Martell, and that's definitely my favorite video that I've ever had, because it's really my personality coming across a lot more, I think.
I enjoyed that video. In fact, we're going to show that one later in the show, and we'll talk about that one too. Like for this new album, Music Box, you decided to do more ballads?
I guess so. I mean, I didn't really consciously think about it, you know what I mean? It was just like, I did whatever came to me at that moment. And, there's some up-tempos on this one. The first single, Dream Lover, I did with Dave Hall, who does a lot more street records, a lot of rap stuff, and I really like his work, so we got together and we did it together. And there's a remix of the song that was done by David Morales, and he's really, really popular in the clubs, and he just redid the whole track, and I re-sang all the vocals, so I really like that. And I worked with Clavillis and Cole again. So, there are more ballads on this album, but that's just the way it happened to be.
Okay.
And he's going to be singing with me on my tour, on the song I'll Be There. So that's going to be fun because he's crazy. Whenever we get together, he makes me laugh. He's insane.
Talking about your new album right now, your new album, Music Box. First of all, why Music Box? What was the idea behind that title?
Well, when we were writing the song, the name of the sound was called Music Box on the synthesizer, and I just started calling it Music Box because the lyrics weren't written yet, and after I finished the lyrics, it seemed like nothing else seemed to fit as well as that, so I kept it, and I thought it would be a cool title for the album, so.
How do you go about entitling? Your next single from Dream Lover after that now is Hero. Tell me a bit about that single.
The song Hero is basically, it's a song I wrote, and it's about really looking inside yourself and being your own hero and not having to always look for a role model or, you know, someone else out there to help you get what you want or to make it, you know, okay just to be yourself. You can look inside yourself and make things right.
You think that's important for people these days, especially?
I do. I really think it's important. And I had a mother who told me that my whole life, and a lot of kids don't have that. So I think it's important to kind of get that message out there.
Mariah's $25,000 custom Vera Wang gown had a jeweled bodice, a 10-foot-long veil, and a 27-foot-long train that required 6 attendants to carry.
I know that she was actually channeling Princess Diana. You really have to be in the proper venue for a dress of that theatricality and that importance. I mean, it was at St. Patrick's Cathedral, and there is a length of aisle there that makes it ballad in terms of, you know, drama.
The look was completed with a pair of $1,000 shoes.
The bride's something old was an heirloom diamond and pearl tiara redesigned to match the one worn by Princess Diana on her wedding.
She was kind of fragile and she had a lot to grapple with. Some way
Carey's marriage is on the rocks. The singer is separating from her husband, Sony Music President Tommy Mottola, on a trial basis.
Last March, she divorced her husband, Tommy Mottola. Okay.
We've got the Christmas album coming out, which obviously must have been a lot of fun for you to do.
It was a lot of fun, definitely.
The songs chosen, plus the original songs, but the traditional songs, are they songs that your favourite Christmas songs?
Yeah, I chose a lot of like my favorite Christmas songs growing up, like Silent Night and, you know, all the songs that everybody sings, you know, Christmas caroling when you're growing up and stuff. But I wrote 3 new songs that I had a really great time doing, because when you're writing Christmas songs, it's like a totally different perspective than just working on, you know, regular songs. It's, you know, some of them, I did one that's more of like a religious song, you know, more of almost like a hymn. And then I did one that was more of like a Christmas kind of love song. And one, the single called All I Want for Christmas Is You, is really kind of like fun, you know, it's like kind of, you know, a play on it. It's very like traditional kind of old-fashioned Christmas. It's very retro. It's kind of like 60s cute.
With this album, I mean, it's one that obviously can stick around for a fair while now. I mean, every Christmas you're going to have this daunting thought of you're going to pull out your album. Does it worry you? I mean, like the fact that this one will be there for a long time.
I tried to do it in a really classic way, so that I didn't jump on really any trends like of the moment. I basically just did a Christmas album that I, you know, would want to listen to year after year, you know, because I'm always looking for really good Christmas albums at Christmas time, and it's usually like one song from this album, one song from that. It's rare to find one that you really like listening to the whole thing. So, you know, I tried to do that. I always used to go Christmas caroling with my mom and my friends, and you know, until I got to be like 12, and then I thought it wasn't cool anymore. But yeah, so that it's like a lot of fun. That's really why I made this album, just because I love Christmas time. It's my favorite time of year, and I'm like the most festive person under the sun. I mean, the day after Thanksgiving, and you guys don't have that in Australia, but here it's a really big holiday, so the day after Thanksgiving, it's like I'm out shopping for the tree, putting up decorations, and Christmas shopping and everything.
Daydream, I mean, the title itself. I mean, do you daydream that much?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if more than other people, but I just thought that the theme and the vibe of some of the songs kind of gave off that sort of dreamy feeling, and so I thought it would be kind of appropriate.
All right, I mean, we pointed out, for the last 5 years, over 60 million albums, and you just keep working, working, working. The little girl in you, I mean, has that little girl had a chance to go back and go, oh my God, I mean, it's not just America, it's England, Europe, Australia, South America, South Africa, it's the world. I mean, I'm communicating with the world. I mean, has that really hit you yet?
When you say it to me, it hits me, but I don't sit back and think about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm really grateful for the whole thing. Yeah, sound to be, like on songs like Underneath the Stars, a lot of people ask me, who did you do that with? And because it doesn't really sound like some of our previous things. It was like, you know, let's try this, let's experiment with sounds, let's use, you know, a scratch track, let's use an old road sound, you know, so it was like doing things to kind of create a vibe as opposed to here's the typical thing that we do. But I learn a lot from him, and I also, as a songwriter, when I want to go somewhere, because I'm limited as far as my playing ability goes.
The first track, Fantasy, which is the first single, just tell us about it.
Well, I had the idea for the melody and the chorus of the lyrics of Fantasy, and I was really into it, and then I heard the Tom Tom Club song, Genius of Love. I hadn't heard it in a long time, and it's always been one of my favorite songs. And so I decided to check into the idea of putting them together. So we called up Tom Tom Club, and they were really excited about it and into the idea, and we did it.
Play the video.
Carey's marriage is on the rocks. The singer is separating from her husband, Sony Music President Tommy Mottola, on a trial basis.
Last March, she divorced her husband, Tommy Mottola. Okay.
I'd give my all to have just one more night with you. I'd risk my life.
feeling is that he made you, his guidance, his helping you choose the songs, his publicity machine, his this, his that it wouldn't have happened without him.
Well, I don't believe that, because I know that I wouldn't have given up, and I do know that I was very close to having a deal prior to meeting him. But I do believe that he was very instrumental, because he did see the potential.
So here you were, 19? Okay, and he was 20 years older, and he's interested in you romantically. What did you think? And he was married, by the way.
Well, he said he was separated, whatever. But
I don't want to play psychologist, but 20 years older than you, Tommy Mottola. Was he a father figure?
Probably, yeah. I guess it became oppressive in a lot of ways.
Tommy didn't like the way you dressed. He would not have liked you to dress like this.
Well, towards the end, it got a little bit better, but no, he had some issues with that.
He wanted you to wear the high neck, the long, you know, to look a little more demure.
Probably.
You got movie offers. Tommy did not want you to act, to be in movies.
Right.
Why not?
Probably because he felt that, well, what he says is because he felt it would be bad for my career.
Being in movies would be bad for your career.
Well, that's what he used to say. So.
And so you turned down movie roles?
I was not told about them. I would read things like in Variety or Us or whatever magazine.
And you never knew that you were offered them?
No. I mean, I would have said yes.
Any roles you know of today that you might have had you been able to say yes?
Yeah, but I'm probably better off not saying what they are.
Roles that made somebody else a star?
Pretty much, yeah.
Mariah, do you know that it has been written that you were a virtual hostage in that house?
Right.
Were you? Could you come and go when you wanted? Could you see people you wanted to see?
It's not that I couldn't. I mean, I could have walked out too. You know, I put myself in a situation.
But he would have been mad.
Yes, he would.
It would have been a thing.
It would have been a thing. It was the accumulation of things. What started to happen was I started meeting other people who were young and in the music business and successful, but also led their own lives. And I started to see the differences, and people started saying to me, how can you handle this type of situation? You shouldn't go through your life always in fear of the next argument or the next issue or the next problem.
So 4 years after the storybook wedding, Mariah left Tommy Mottola.
She was kind of fragile and she
There's a lot of different collabos. It has a lot of different colors and textures. I have to be able to have fun and do like a lot of different styles within one album. Otherwise, it's just boring. Right now, pop is the biggest thing. Could have been like, let's do an entire really pop album, you know, because that'll be the really big selling thing.
For many years, Mariah was able to push herself and persevere. although she also recognized that this habit was problematic.
You know what, sometimes I just have to just let it go. And sometimes when I'm exhausted and just going through a tough time, it's an emotionally draining thing, you know, and so I think you can't isolate yourself.
By July 2001, Carey was overwhelmed and physically drained. Mariah's hospitalization sent the marketing people at Virgin Records and 20th Century Fox into a frenzy. The release of the Glitter soundtrack was pushed back 2 weeks to September 11th. The movie was also delayed until September 21st, 2001. On August 8th, after a 12-day stay, Mariah checked out of the hospital. The singer was optimistic.
She felt like she could go in, and because of what she perceived as her own inner strength, she could deal with this in a day or two and get out and be normal again.
On September 6th, Mariah admitted herself into the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles. Carey's publicist stated that Carey was continuing to recover and needed more time to rest.
Personally, I think she has probably, if not reached totally rock bottom at this point, emotionally and otherwise, she's very close to it.